and this is your sterilization video.
Always remember when you come to the sterilization room, you're wearing your full PPE, which is the gown first, and then the mask, and then the glasses, and then the gloves.
Hey, I'm going to be talking about the ultrasonic real quick. This is what we do at the beginning of our day. Every day we come in, we'll go ahead and we will we'll close it and we'll fill it up with water to about this line right here. And then each ultrasonic has to have a detergent. Every specific detergent is a little different. So you just want to read the manufacturer's instructions on how many pumps. But for this one in particular, we will use 2 pumps, and then we'll go ahead and close that. And then we're all set for using the ultrasonic. We're gonna put everything in a sealed, closed box with our cassette and any loose instruments, and we'll carry them over to the ultrasonic. We'll open this, and we'll place this in gently. If there's any other loose instruments, we'll go ahead and we'll put this in a little basket. And this just prevents injuries, sharp injuries. And what the ultrasonic will do, we'll turn it on. Most ultrasonics, they'll stay on for about 4 to 16 minutes. For this particular one, we'll start with 10. And the whole purpose of using the ultrasonic is to remove any of the debris that might be left over on the instruments, and then we'll go ahead and rinse. Once our instruments have been soaking in the ultrasonic, we're going to go ahead and rinse them. You want to be careful you have minimal splashing to prevent any bacteria. Now, before I brought this cassette in of instruments, this was just a basic cassette. I did go ahead and double check that there was anything that I needed to get rid of, like any disposables. There's only certain instruments that can be put into the autoclave as well as the ultrasonic. Some of those that would not be would be like your high-speed hand pieces and any disposables that you would just either dispose in the sharps container or the trash. This cassette, you do want to put the instruments in order, from the mirror to then the Explorer and then the cotton pliers. And dry these as much as we can to prep them before they go into the autoclave. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and be packaging up the items that I just dried. For the cassette, we do wrap these. Before I wrap it, we will typically use an indicator strip. We're just going to be putting the date, my initials, and then the type of machine. So I just put A1. We'll go ahead and put that in here. And that way, we'll be able to tell once this is done with the autoclave if it reached the right temperature. Once I wrap it up, we will also be putting an indicator piece of tape that will tape it up on the outside so we can tell that it has reached the right temperature as well. So go ahead and put that there, and then just put our basic, since this is a basic kit on each side. Today's date, a type of machine, which is the A1, and then my initials. And for any loose instruments that will not go in the cassette, we're going to go ahead and put these in these little bags. We just want to make sure they are closed securely. That way it will prevent from any contamination once it's done. You want to make sure you seal it properly, just like that. Go ahead and put your name, your date, and the type of machine that's going in. And these also, we don't have to put any tape or indicator strips in here. They have their own indicators right here. So whenever these come out of the autoclave, it'll let us know if that reached the right temperature as well. And, for now, I'm going to go ahead and put these items in here. And that way, the next person will know when those need to go into the autoclave as soon as the autoclave is emptied.
After instrument processing comes the autoclave. First, we're gonna have to make sure that the water level is in the green. If not, we will have to only refill it with distilled water. And then we will load the trays with the pouches, not crowded and not stacked next to each other, on the paper side of the pouches. And then we will close by leveling the handle, and then close, releasing the handle. Now it's locked. And then we will start the unit by pressing on pouches and then start. After starting the unit, the heat up cycle starts and it starts building the steam in the chamber and the temperature as well. And once the temperature reaches between 250 to 273 degrees Fahrenheit, it holds the temperature and the sterilization cycle begins. After 30 minutes, the depressurization cycle starts, and which will release the steam in the chamber and decreases the temperature and the pressure inside the chamber. It's very important to dry all of the packages before handling them so they don't tear. And then after that, because they will lose sterility. And then after they get dried, we're gonna inspect each pouch to see if they were sterilized properly. We have the indicators here on the pouches. If it's not sterilized, it's not gonna change the color. And if it's sterilized, it's gonna look like this. After we finish the cycle, we have to log in the sterilization log here.
Okay, so once the autoclave has finished its cycle, the instruments are then ready to be put away. You want to check and make sure that they have reached the proper temperature by looking at the indicators, both internal and external. And then on your cassettes, you can check the tape, make sure it has the diagonal lines showing it reached the proper temperature. And then on the inside, it has the internal indicator that you'll look at when you open it. You also want to log on our sterilization log right here that everything has reached the proper temperature and that it passed. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and put your instruments away. Your cassettes are gonna go in these cabinets right here, and you want the label facing outwards so that you know what you are grabbing. And then individual instruments can go in these cabinets right here in their corresponding container for proper storage and organization. Then at the end of the day, you also want to drain the ultrasonic. You can do this by flipping this lever right down here to open, and the water will begin to drain through this tube here. You also want to do this throughout the day if the ultrasonic becomes visibly soiled. After it's drained all the way, you can pre-clean and disinfect. And then overall, at the end of the day, you can use a wipe to once pre-clean and disinfect all your counters, contact surfaces, and sinks.
Today I'm going to show you how to care and use for the Statim sterilizer. This is a type of autoclave that sterilizes our instruments. So first I'm going to check the water levels. The water levels will be under this cabinet. There's going to be a clean one and then a dirty one. And so I'm going to fill up the clean one with distilled water only and then dump out the dirty one whenever it is full. Then we're going to load up the cassettes into the Statim. We got to make sure that they are separated properly so they're not all stacked together and they're not all squished so they can circulate and be sterilized properly. Then one of these buttons, I'm going to select the correct cycle for the type of instrument cassette that we have, if it's wrapped or unwrapped, and then press start. Sometimes there can be an error message. If that ever occurs, just look up the user manual to check the code and see what it means. After the cycle is done, then I will take the cassettes out and I will check the indicator strips to make sure they were sterilized properly. There's going to be two different methods. So the two different methods are going to be the tape indicator or a little strip that you put into the cassettes. So for daily maintenance, you're just going to wipe down the machine, empty the tanks, make sure they're clean, the dirty one and the clean one. And then for routine maintenance, that isn't as often, we're just going to check the seals, we're going to check the filters, and then replace them if they are needed. Following these procedures can make sure that the Statim stays clean and works efficiently for the next person to use.
Hi, I'm gonna explain how to do biological monitoring. It's just to confirm that the sterilizer is actually sterilizing. So you have the vials. We're gonna need two, one for the test and one for the control. So we'll need to label on the small vial. We'll have to write the date and your initial and which machine that you're gonna put inside. We will need two blue. The blue color means it's unprocessed. So one will go into the sterilizer, and then you're gonna put it inside the most difficult spot to get sterilized, and then run the cycle. After the cycle is run, the color will change black. It means it is already processed. And then you'll have the control and the test vial get inside the incubator. To put it inside, you have to put in a 45-degree angle, and then you put it upright, and then it'll crush the vial, and then it will activate it. Inside the vial, before you put inside the incubator, the purple, it should be purple, the color. This means negative. And then after you run the incubator, you have to check the color. If it's yellow, it's positive, and then if it's purple, it's a negative result. And then we have the log over here. We have to write down the date and time and the machine and your operator initial, and then you'll write down the result if it's positive or negative. That's how you do biological monitoring.